Hi Geek Family. I took a little trip today and I wanted to show you some of the neat things that I discovered. I have a buddy who's been talking about getting a bonsai tree for a few weeks, and I guess he's looking for some zen in his life. So we took the day off of work and headed to Conyers, Georgia, to a Catholic monastery to look at their bonsai garden. Now I know there's a whole lot of things wrong with that last statement. When I think of monasteries, I think of Tibet, Nepal, guys with shaved heads, chanting. I think of Bruce Wayne seeking Ra Ghul to train him, but not Conyers, Georgia. But believe it or not, about 30 minutes east of Atlanta, a group of Trappist monks established a monastery about 35 years ago. The Monastery of the Holy Spirit, as it is known, includes a church, cloister, visitor center, garden center, and as part of their religious requirement to be self-sufficient, a bonsai nursery. Their Facebook page calls it the Bonsai at the Monastery. When you arrive, you are greeted by a modern facility with beautifully maintained grounds. The site contains the Monastic Heritage Center, a monastery museum, a refectory, cafe, abbey store, and of course, the bonsai nursery. Bonsai is Japanese for tray planting. It is a Japanese art form, thousands of years old, that uses cultivation techniques to produce, in containers, small trees that mimic the shape and scale of full-size trees. The purposes of bonsai are primarily contemplation for the viewer and the pleasant exercise of effort and ingenuity for the grower. Bonsai are usually started from a cutting, seedling, or small tree of a species suitable for bonsai development. The young tree is cultivated to remain small by pruning and pot size. The tree is shaped and made to become aesthetically pleasing and then is usually transported to a display pot and maintained. Traditional bonsai trees are grown outdoors and can be created from a variety of tree types. There are some types of trees that are particularly suited to being bonsai trees because of their small size or small leaves. But as I learned today, just about any tree can be cultivated to become a bonsai tree. We saw many different ones in the nursery today. None of the ones we looked at had a lot of color, but some were amazingly beautiful and interesting. I was also surprised by the prices. Many of these trees are 30, 50, 70 years old and represent many, many years of careful pruning and attention, and thus command some pretty high prices. We saw many trees that were about $400 or $500. We saw a few that were well over $1,000. But even though some of the prices were pretty high, some of these little trees were very impressive. Any good nursery also stocks the necessities of the hobby, and the monastery is no exception. They have a large inventory of growing and display pots, from the very large to the small. They also stock their very own potting soil mix. Have you ever considered getting a bonsai tree? Let us know in the comments section below. So when it was all said and done, my buddy picked this little guy. We were told it was an excellent starter tree, and with a little sunlight, water, and love, should grow into a fantastic bonsai tree. This was a great geek adventure. The next time you're in the Conyers area, I would recommend you take a few minutes. Check out the Monastery of the Holy Spirit and the bonsai at the monastery. If you enjoyed this video, please take a minute to give us a like. Well, thanks for joining us, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming content.